Lackluster, soft, directionless, that's the global market handover. But will that have any bearing on our own markets? Our research teams joining in with how the trade setup looks like, the stocks that are likely to be in the news, and of course, the setup on the F&O side of things. Now, Vamakshi is here to tell us the important cues that we'll be tracking later today. Vamakshi.
Absolutely, Hormaz. The trading session yesterday was a volatile one. Nifty opened flat. It surged to a high. But, when we look at the closing, it closed almost 100 points from the day's highest point. The broader markets, however, they continued to perform quite well. The market breadth was largely in favor of the advances, with the advance decline ratio of 3:1. And this, in turn, reflected in the mid-cap as well as the small-cap index. Both of them ended, the session with a gain of over 1%. Sectoral indices, most of them closed in the green. Metal, realty, energy were the top sectoral gainers, but on the flip side, Nifty Bank was the top sectoral loser. Defense stocks have been in focus all throughout last week and this week itself. Defense stocks, they continue to charge ahead. Look at the move that has come in on GRSC as well as Mr. Dhatu. Both of them trading with gains of around 15%. DCX India too had a good session, up almost 8%. As far as the trading session today is concerned, of course, it's the weekly expiry that we'll be watching out for. Lots of earnings lined up as well today. BKG Foods, Cochin Shipyards, Godfrey Phillips, GSW Energy, Keynes as well as Page Industries will be reporting their numbers. So we'll have to stand by and watch out for these numbers. But apart from that, keep an eye out on two important events that are expected to happen today. FM Nirmala Sitharaman will be meeting PSB chiefs for an annual review. So we'll be keeping an eye out on some of the PSU counters. White House also is set to release its new AI policy. So all these AI related IT names will also be in focus. Let's look at what the GIFT Nifty is indicating. It's indicating a mildly positive start, up almost 23 points for the GIFT Nifty.
Indeed, mildly positive start. And of course, just to add to that important events day, of course, we'll watch out for results from Walmart as well later in the evening. It'll be interesting to see what the largest retailer of the world has to say with regards to consumer sentiment. But speaking of stocks, Vinny is here to tell us what you need to watch out for today. Vinny, good morning.
Good morning. A whole host of earnings that we're keeping an eye out on. Eicher Motors, firstly, largely inline set of numbers. The company's focus remains on growth over margins, and they continue to gain market share. Revenue growth of 23.1% on a year-on-year basis. Margins at 24% versus 26.5%, and the management is expecting growth momentum to continue in FY26. Urban sentiment, they said, has improved recently post the budget and what we've seen coming in, so keeping an eye out on Eicher. Jubilant Food, good quarter coming in for the company as well. 93% growth in terms of profit. Revenue growth of around 19.1%. Margins remain flattish at around 19.2%. Order growth is coming in at 24.6% year-on-year basis, and LFL growth for delivery is at 21.9%. Lupin, largely inline set of numbers in terms of revenue and EBITDA performance, but profits, that's higher than what the street was anticipating. Good growth this time was led by the North America business. So the US side of the business has done well, surprisingly. So that is something that maybe could pull up the stock in today's trading session. Tata Power, overall, we're seeing largely inline set of numbers. Operational beat is coming in versus the estimates. TP Solar ramp up was fast, while the capex and capacity addition, that saw some bit of a delay, which was in line with the overall industry that we've seen coming in. Revenue seeing a 9% growth and 25% growth in terms of profits of the company and an expansion in margins. Muthoot, NII saw a growth of around 36%. Net profits saw a growth of 42.7%. Let's keep an eye out on that. Torrent Power, muted set coming in from the company. PAT was boosted by a one-off that came in. Eclog's good quarter coming in. The ACV deals is at an all-time high level, so we could see some green here. And lastly, Brigade Enterprises, earnings, and other than earnings, they also have acquired a land parcel in Chennai. So that is why we could see a run-up coming in for the stock.
Well, thank you so much for that, Vinny. And finally, we now have Sudarshan joining in with cues from the F&O space. Sudarshan, the GIFT Nifty for now is indicating a muted start, but what is the F&O setup looking like?
So it's a weekly expiry for Nifty. We'll have to see if we get to see any direction, because as far as yesterday's session was concerned, it was mainly because of the big buying that we saw in mid caps, and that's the reason market breadth was healthy in favor, advancing in the ratio of 3:1. But as far as Sensex and Nifty are concerned, it was a close with minor gains, and similar momentum was seen in the flows front also. In the cash market, we have seen minor buying by both FIs and DIs. Also in the index futures, FIs have bought nearly rupees 300 crore. And the long unwinding continues for second straight day. We have seen FIs have reduced long positions by almost 34,800 contracts. But good parties, short addition is not that much, just it was around 1,800. And with this, FIs long exposure remains around 38%. On the option front, 25,000 call continues to see healthy additions. There we saw addition of almost 21 lakh shares, and another call that was active was 24,700, where the addition was around 14 lakh shares. On the put side, 24,400 and 24,500 were the active ones, and it tells you that on the downside for now, for Nifty, it's limited around in the range of 24,400 to 24,500, and on the upside resistance around 25,000. As far as stocks are concerned, two stocks remain in the band, and those are CDSL and Manappuram, and one stock that has entered in the band is Hindustan Copper.